No, just out here turkey hunting. And just thinking, I don't know if a lot of you ever turkey hunted before, but it is very challenging if, the birds are not cooperating, they're not coming and calling and stuff like that. But just sitting out here, thinking about how, the patience involved and the delayed gratification that comes from something that you're trying to accomplish. Sitting here trying to turkey hunt with my daughter, she's sleeping, but we're out here doing it, and patience. And people say patience is a virtue. To be able to actually have the patience to accomplish or withstand whatever it is you're trying to withstand. Whether that's turkey hunting, in the gym, with the fitness, you gotta have patience with your body, with yourself. Just the delayed gratification that it takes to get the results. Everything isn't so instant with everything that's good and hard to do. And, just sit here thinking about how long it takes you sometimes to actually get what you really want. And if you're not pursuing that, you're basically sitting on idle all the time, or at some sort of neutral position, thinking about doing something or getting somewhere, or the way you want to look, the way you want to feel, but you never really take the action to do it. I used to be like that all the time. Do what I felt like I wanted to do, whatever felt right at the time, and not have any discipline, habits, well, good habits. I had a lot of bad habits, a lot of vices that held me back, and that was kind of the leading factor to not being successful in whatever it is that you're doing. And sitting here and waiting for that opportunity to come is tough. There's other ways to go about it, but this is just one way to do it, and enjoy being out here, taking in what nature has to offer, and just enjoying the process. Really, this is part of the process, and goes a long ways, just being out here with your thoughts, taking it all in, if you will. But it all is relatable. It's all relative to, goes back to fitness and getting better. Because you gotta have the patience to really get the results that you want. That's where I'm at, when the pain is so much, it's unbearable to go on and stay in that situation. And that's just sitting here thinking about how far I've come, giving up certain vices, issues, just how much it really takes to put yourself in a position to where you actually feel, look, and love the actual spot or position that you're in. It takes a lot of hard work, and it's not easy. It doesn't get easier. You get better in the process. Really, is what it is, and that's what I like about it so much, is the process of the results that you're gonna get. They're going to come. You just have to, like I say, endure the process. So what I found is that found the enjoyment in the process to be gratifying before the actual results. So when you create these habits, even the simple water habits, drinking a gallon of water a day, and what I found easiest to work for me is I start super early, so I make it the first thing I do in the morning, and it's just the little things like that. It doesn't seem like much, like, oh yeah, drink the water first thing in the morning, blah blah blah. I know it doesn't seem like it, but it compounds when you add other habits in there, like the salt and the lemon water and all these other aspects, and the high protein diet, whole food diets, only consuming good quality foods for your, to get your macros in for the day, your calories, or, wherever you're at, but, that training in there and everything else. But the little things is what compounds and gives you that. It's the little wins, and they compound over time. And that's what creates the habits and the disciplines of actually doing that every single day in and day out. I know it sounds mindless to drink 16 ounces of water before you get out of your bed, but try doing that for 30 days in a row and see how you feel. It is a delayed gratification with the aspect of that even. And it just goes so far with the little things I'm telling you. It's just what I found that actually helped me get to where I'm at and get the results that I've gotten over the past years of practicing lifestyle bodybuilding and getting better, growing in my business, in my body, in my relationships. It's just incredible the amount of growth that you have, and you can see it in real life, especially if you're documenting and you're filming and you're creating content based on this type of behavior. Habitual behavior is what I like to call it. Everything becomes a habit. Your thought process become a habit, and that's just what I found really has been the game changer in the whole process for me. How I actually know how the stuff or how these things work is I've been doing and implementing these processes for years now. That's actually took me to where I want to be and where I am now. And you get better and better day in and day out doing these simple, what seems mundane tasks, these steps that I'm taking to get better every day. The water intake, the grounding, how I make my coffee every morning, the micronutrients, the vitamins I take every morning, the secondary water intake with lemon, sea salt. I mean, I do these things habitually every morning. They're step by step by step. And when this compounds over time, and they give you, like I said, the daily wins. And it all starts by writing these things out. Okay, I'm gonna do. My goal is the water intake, and the grounding, 10 to 15 minutes of grounding every day, and just the little things like that. Tracking your nutrition. That's simply by getting an app or following a meal plan. Some people like to do that too. If it's easier to do that, you eat the same thing every day, a certain amount of meals, and you know exactly what you're consuming. Inputs and outputs, and what you're actually putting in your body is what actually comes out, and in the form of energy. But you have to have a plan of action. If you have no structure and you just try to do these certain things, what will happen is you'll do them for a little bit, and then you'll stop. Something will derail you. Something you'll have to get up earlier, or stay up later or something, and then you'll miss. And I'm not saying you can't continue, but what happens is you are more likely not to continue because that little thing derailed you. So if you don't have a plan or any structure in place of exactly how you're going to do this, or do these steps to create these habits, what I found is that you will be less likely to accomplish them. So keep that in mind. You want to write out a plan and then start simple and then add more. You know, just add the water for the first 2 weeks, you know, and then add the meal plan on top of that. Track it. You know, if the gallon of water, let's just use the simplest one. If you're having a tough time getting that gallon of water in, track it every single day. Track the amount throughout the day. So now you're creating a micro routine, you know, and then start compounding these things throughout your weeks, and then next thing you know, you're going to be doing it habitually without even knowing. You'll just do it. So the idea behind all this is to start small, compound the tasks, create the habits, build the disciplines, take action over and over again. You know, one little thing that's helped me write these out is I get these little yellow legal pads. They're mini little legal pads. You can get them from Amazon. You know, come in like 10 packs, stuff like that. And obviously a pen. But I keep one of these in all places. I keep it on my nightstand. I keep everywhere that I spend a little bit of time with, sitting down, on the kitchen table, on my studio, on my bench, anywhere, in your shop. You know, a lot of guys keep a lot of stuff in their shop. You gotta take notes and stuff like that. But having these in place all the time, when you get these ideas or when you're building your structure, you can actually write them out at all times when you have these ideas. Because if you don't, what I found is, you know, I have all these ideas and these plans, and then you forget. I should do this all the time. Like, how can I fix this? You know, even on your phone, unless you're super savvy at taking your notes on your phone, or voice notes and voice memos like that. You know, a lot of people can do that. But I'm more of a hands-on type of person. I've always been. That's how I've learned. My second would be audible. You know, I learned a lot of audio. But, you know, I'm a visual learner and a hands-on, so I want to write things out all the time. And by doing this, is I found myself writing out these goals, and more than less, continuing to do these things. You know, it's just that. I know it sounds so simple and so mundane, but it works. I'm telling you, it just does. And then you're actually speaking and writing things in existence that you want to do. I mean, this is what it actually takes, you know. And that's the difference between saying you're going to do something and actually doing it, is that little structure, I like to call it. You add structure to your life, you know, plans, plan of action. The old saying goes is plan your work, work your plan. And that is very true. I learned that in the trades. I'm a blue-collar tradesman. I've been for 15 years now, and created a lot of discipline with that, because you gotta work your plan. You know, you got a plan and you work it. Get the job done. You know, so that's where I'm at with that. You know, I hope this helps you kind of get a jump start on these simple little wins every day, and they compound, get you the results that you're looking for. has with me, my clients like, just simple, sometimes less is more. Less is more.